Next week, right here in NYC, the Women's Sports Foundation Gala will go down, and today we have the pleasure of speaking to one of the recipients of the 2023 Champion for Equality Award. He's the co-founder of Athletes Unlimited. Jon Patricof joins me now. Jon, how's it going?
It's going great. Thanks so much for having me. Very excited for next week and very excited for the gala. It's going to be a great event.
Yeah, I know you got to be excited about that. It's a fantastic event, and it's an honor that you will receive at the gala, which is also important. And Jon, I thought it was so important to talk to you about women's sports and your impact on women's sports, especially with the WNBA finals set to start in a few days, and some of the records that we've seen just this year in viewing and attendance with women's athletics in this country. So let's start with you and Jonathan Soros, who started Athletes Unlimited. For people who don't know, what is Athletes Unlimited and what was the motivation to create it?
So Athletes Unlimited is a network of 4 professional women's sports leagues. We run a professional women's lacrosse league, a professional women's softball league, professional women's basketball league, and professional women's volleyball league. Started in 2020, and since then we've actually run 13 seasons across those 4 sports. Over 300 athletes have participated, some of the world's best athletes participating. Games are nationally broadcast on a whole host of partners, including ESPN and CBS and others. It's been awesome. I mean, it's an amazing time for women's sports. There's huge momentum, just like you mentioned, with the WNBA and women's soccer. But we're seeing sports like volleyball and softball that have huge fan bases, huge participation, finally start to get some of the attention and investment that they deserve. And we're really proud that Athletes Unlimited has been a big part of that. The future looks really bright.
Yeah, there's no doubt that you guys have been a part of that, the investment and conversation around it. And the conversation around women's sports is still growing, but I see this all the time when I'm doing coverage of women's sports, whether it's on social media or comments on videos. You're still going to see sexism, sadly, full on display, with people saying that nobody cares about the sport or talking about what female athletes can't do. What's your response to those who criticize women's sports, and do you think they're just a loud minority here?
My response is simple. Look at the numbers, look at the data, look at the information. We're seeing absolutely massive audiences tune in. I think everyone across the board saw 92,000 people come to University of Nebraska for the largest women's sporting event of all time, just happening a couple months ago. We're seeing record ratings across the board. And Athletes Unlimited, we've seen that same kind of response. Huge TV audiences, really great social engagement. And so, I think, everyone's talked at times about women's sports, having a moment, 1999 or a great event like with the NCAA Final Four. What we're now seeing is that moment is just a stream of one after the other. And so my response is simple. Look at the numbers, look at the data. You can't ignore it. The fact is there's huge audiences. They've been there. And finally, what's happening is networks are giving these games the coverage, and investors and others alongside Athletes Unlimited are coming in and identifying that opportunity and see huge upside from there.
Yeah, that is key. Can't deny the data, and you can't deny the data when you invest in women's sports. Okay, so you and your co-founder, you guys are receiving the Champion for Equality Award next week. What will receiving that award mean to you when you do get it at the gala next week? What is that going to mean to you?
Well, it's an incredible honor. I mean, the Women's Sports Foundation, founded by Billie Jean King, has been the leading organization to support girls and women in sports. And Jonathan Soros and I, co-founders of Athletes Unlimited, are being recognized as allies for equality. And I think that we are honored to fill that role. It takes a lot of people at all levels to contribute to the success and the growing success, and we're proud just to play a small part. But the legacy of Billie Jean King, the role the Women's Sports Foundation has, this is a big growing community, and it's one of the highlights of the short brief history of AU to be recognized by her and an organization that was founded by her.
Yeah, she does tremendous work, and I'm glad to see her also honor people who are contributing to women's sports. I got to ask you this before I let you go, Jon. Where do you see Athletes Unlimited in the next few years? What is the future of what you've built, and also what does the future look like, I should say, for women's sports in America?
Yeah, so for our future, I just envision a day when we're talking about pro women's volleyball the same way we're talking about other men's leagues that have been around for a long time, that the conversation changes when you walk into your office on a Monday morning, and you're not just talking about what have happened in the latest NFL game, but it's common conversation to be, knowing what's happened, to know the athletes, to know what's happening in the scores, and that, there's a huge fan base already doing that. What I want to see that do is cross over to the average, sports fan who might be a casual fan and who hasn't had that experience. But just remember, there are a lot of fans out there of these sports. We need the media and others just to, follow and come along and realize that they deserve that attention across the board. So it's great. I hope people will support the Women's Sports Foundation, even if they can't come to the gala next week. You can go to their website. And Athletes Unlimited Volleyball starts just this Saturday, November 6th, October 6th through November 6th. We're going to be playing in Phoenix, Arizona. Games will be on ESPN, and get a chance to watch the world's best volleyball players on the court. So whether it's watching TV and watching volleyball, or coming to the Women's Sports Foundation or supporting it, everyone has a role to play. And this is a big movement. You want to be part of it. That's all I'll say to fans and others alike. You want to be in the know, and you want to be part of this, because it's only growing.
Yeah, it is only growing, and you guys are definitely a part of that with Athletes Unlimited. I'm definitely hoping sometime soon within the next year to come out in person and check out some of your games and see these women do great stuff on the field, on the court, etc. That is Jon Patricof, co-founder of Athletes Unlimited. So gracious to give me some of his time today. Jon, thank you so much. We will talk down the road.
Thank you.